All right. Welcome, everyone, to our very first edition of SEL in EDU. I'm Krista,
And I'm Craig.
and we are so thrilled to be your hosts in this journey. I met Craig 10 years ago. Craig, it's been 10 years.
I know. We're getting better like a fine wine. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that analogy. So we met back in 2012
Yeah.
through ASCD, Emerging Leaders. And I remember there were 26 of us that were selected for the program.
Yeah.
And we were in Virginia and they were doing some meetings in this room. And I'm sitting in the room and I'm listening to everybody introduce themselves. And I'm like, I think they made a mistake with me. I don't belong here. But I remember when we did these first small groups, you were in my first small group. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, he's incredible. All the stuff that he's doing with kids up in Boston. So, what do you remember from that day 10 years ago?
Uh, I remember being incredibly like on like electric pulses because it's like I couldn't believe it that I was in the space with people like yourself who were shaking things up. We perpetual fire starters because we're setting these
Ooh,
really interesting fires in the minds and hearts of young people. And we all seem to be outliers because we are creative and innovative. And you definitely, trying to, play it down, but absolutely coming in, blowing us all away. I remember, I remember a few things. But one of the things that I remember about you is just really making it incredibly tangible for us to think about differentiation, thinking about a variety of needs that aren't always spoken of in the classroom. And I appreciated how you always centered your heart, on, what is good for your boys is what is good for us and what we do in the classroom. And I know that they are now much older.
they are.
Uh,
Ooh. Well, and thinking about that in terms of those 10 years, my oldest is 20 and a sophomore at a university. My biologically younger one is going to be 17 and my bonus son is going to be 16.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they were little ones. And those were the kids that you worked with. If I remember seeing videos of you like as a building administrator dancing into the classrooms and getting the kids to dance with you. And there was just such joy that emanated from you. And you could tell how much you loved what you were doing and you were there for the kids. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And that is what drew me to you as well, because that's what I wanted to connect to. Because I think you're right. In the district I was at, I did feel like an outlier because I didn't feel that other people, they loved it, but it was more of a job.
Yeah.
And to me, it's who I am and what I do. It's my life. And I know that that seems awkward for people who have different types of jobs where there's a definite separation.
Mhm. Yeah, it's when when teaching is a passion because we'll sit at a table. I'm like, all you got to do is give us like some markers, some post-it notes, and give us a little round table and some anchor charts, and we will change the world. We'll be like, you know what? Hold up, we got it. We got it. We
Yes.
can figure it out. And I think that that's what this experience is about, is when you have people who are impassioned about what it is that we do. We may not all do the same things, we may not serve in the same roles, but we're all centered on, we want the whole child, that every young person we serve to come away better and stronger. And so I've always, gravitated towards you because your heart is incredibly pure. And it has always emanated something absolutely wonderful that makes me feel inspired to be a better human being and a better educator just in being in your presence. And so I'm grateful that I continue to get this gift year after year, being your friend and also joining you in company.
I want to be like just ditto. I don't know how to say it any other way. Um, but part of our work together is, and actually I need to go back and I need to say that for a couple years, like we were connected on social media and on Facebook, and we
Yeah.
reached out and we touched in, but like I knew you were doing your thing. And all
Mm,
of a sudden you pop up
mm,
at a conference and like have all these amazing experiences.
yeah.
And so please correct me, but Boston Distinguished Principal of the Year, Massachusetts Distinguished Principal of the Year, um, you were doing all of this work helping marginalized students, Black and brown boys in education. And the boys part is what really hit my heart too, having 3 boys of my own.
Yeah.
And I was so excited to see you at that conference. I like,
Was that Chicago?
I think yes,
I think it
was
was
it? I think
Chicago.
it was. Uh,
Hmm.
and then we just kind of kept getting connected and keeping, and so we do a lot of connected work. But when this opportunity came up for the podcast, and we've been talking about SEL and EDU, and there's so many different offshoots that come from that
Yeah.
that we can talk about. And there is nobody else that I wanted to be able to dig into those pieces with than you. Yes, and tell me, it was Massachusetts Distinguished Principal of the Year, right? And now you're an executive director.
Oh, you're so kind. I am honored that Massachusetts, the wonderful educators and families and students uh, thought so highly of me that I was a Massachusetts Elementary Principal of the Year in 2018. Also, then subsequently became Nationally Distinguished Principal, which is, I mean, humbling, humbling. I mean, there are so many wonderful, phenomenal, incredible school leaders who I follow and regard, and to have just to see the email that says you've been nominated. I'm like, whoa, how? Who knows what I'm doing? Y'all
Everybody,
know?
everybody, because they've been watching you. You're phenomenal.
No, I am I've been bent on the fact that I wanted to make sure we created a school community of joy, of respect and regard that celebrates the many identities and diversities of young people and families. It's hard work. It's tireless work. And I am it is one of my favorite jobs, but like my top job is teaching. Love to teach, love to get in the classroom. Every blue moon, I got to get in there, teach something, or sit in like small group. Give me a class, and we will be okay. But I think that it also is I've arrived at this place is because I've always felt like I could learn more. I'm continuing to learn my craft, and I'm opening myself up to my teachers who serve with me to come into the classroom, see me teach, give me feedback, and I am teaching. And so now, as an executive director for a K-8 community, I now have like a little small math group that I get to do, and I walk into classrooms and I've substitute, taught in a class or two to keep it sharp, and also to keep me grounded on why. What is the why that and every time I walk into a classroom, I'm like, so these kids will have a better learning experience, so they can be global citizens of the world. The teachers around them will be incredible, champions and advocates for them. They'll stand in the gap in these different ways, and it's so much more. And so I'm always honored and humbled that I can continue to do this.
And one of the things that really resonates with me that you've just said is that as a leader, as a principal, as an executive director, your passion is teaching, and not only the people who serve with you. And I love the way you said that, because it wasn't, you don't have a, I am this role or this job. You are down there in the trenches with the staff, working with them. And I love that you haven't ever lost perspective of what it's like to have boots on the ground.
Yeah,
And I think that so many leaders before COVID maybe have lost that part, but because of COVID and because of staff needing to be out to take care of family members or themselves when they're sick, the administrators are having to be back in the buildings again.
yeah,
And so I'm wondering, could you talk about a big takeaway that you would give to either administrators or to staff
Yeah.
around that, maintaining that connection to the kids? Um, and I know I'm kind of just throwing things out there at you that you probably weren't expecting here, but I'm really loving that direction. And I think that more people could benefit from some insights. And that's what our show's about, right? We wanted to get together and bring amazing educators in to talk about their experiences and how they can help others see things from their perspective.
Yeah. In these times that we're in, which are unparalleled by sure, nationally, we're seeing educators step away like they're leaving the classroom in groves. And, the pandemic, we're dealing with so much, the great resignation that's in play. What we're seeing is that the adults who've been able to muscle so much emotionally uh, are exhausted, right? It doesn't mean that their hearts aren't in the work. It doesn't mean that they don't love the kids. It doesn't mean that they don't want to partner with families. That they're scared to lesson plan and lead. Folks are exhausted, and it is so much on the body and our body remembers everything, right? It remembers everything. And so the stress and anxiety of waking up every day, doing your checklist of how am I going to keep myself physically safe, because COVID is still real. And then you say, all right, did I make sure I ate breakfast, or that I exercised or meditated? Like, the self-care aspects. So you got to make sure you wake up every day, affirm who you are in your personal why, and that you also have people around you who can see something and say, all right, something's different, and do that check-in and make sure like you're bolstered when you walk into that classroom space. And then you are then this incredible, like you are the incredible being, the all for young people who are in your space, who have a lot of needs that we've never seen in this way. And now teachers are having to figure out, well, how do I deal with the traumas, the invisible and the visible? How am I going to support young people who are further behind, than they've ever been? And we got parents who are stretched thin and they're too are exhausted. And how do you do all of this work to actually minister to that person, to me as an educator? And how do you help to keep us going? And so some of the work, not to say that this isn't all perfect, is us starting the day in gratitude and affirmation. Because, I know how important it is to just, start the day and say, hey, I'm so glad that, I had a warm car that got me here to school today, or, a warm ride on the bus or the train. And to start with affirmation to remind yourself of what you need, but also knowing that you have leaders who also are doing that TLC and check-in. So just kind of walking by, even if you're in the coffee room or coming to the class and saying, hey, I'm just here to see you, just checking on you, make sure you're okay. Because I understand it's a lot. And sometimes say, I know you told me you're okay, but how are you holding up? Like doing it just deeper dive. And that creates this level of vulnerability for leaders. Because like, oh my gosh, well, what if they tell me something deeply personal? What am I supposed to do? Listen, just listen. And if you can offer something, great. If you can't, maybe just your offering of listening, because you're the first person today who was listening to anything they said, right? And there's some other things we do in regards to just making time and space for teachers and educators to kind of be able to step away from the classroom, take a break, take a walk, or making sure you have some self-care days built in. So maybe your PD has meditation or games or socials, so people can just connect. And so many other things I could talk about, but I think that at least what I'm seeing in my school community is constant conversations, a ton of compassion, and that leaders need to show that, hey, I can step in and take over your classroom for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. I got this today. Why don't you go get a cup of coffee, go finish grading papers or whatever you need. I got you. And that's what teachers need today, is to know that administrator, that leader got my back if I need it.
I had mentioned before we got on about a larger urban school district near me, and I've had the pleasure of working with the assistant superintendent for a long number of years. I've known her for like 15 years now. Her name is Dr. Yolanda Williams, and she talks about being able to heart see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the empathy. And that's what you exude. Like, I love the part where you said you're checking in to see how people are. And it's not like one of those in passing, people are like, oh, hey, how are you? And they keep walking. And I'm like, you didn't really ask, because if you did, you would have slept, had eye contact, or I know eye contact is not what is necessary in every culture, but waited for a real response.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing that, and you're being vulnerable because you might not get it. Oh, everything's good. And what are you going to do with that information? And I think that's the empathy piece that we, for so long, say, well, we need our students to be more empathetic. But it starts with us as adults getting comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And saying, I love how you said, I've got this. Go get a cup of coffee. Go grade some papers. I can take this class, and it won't just be a study hall or them. Like, we're going to do, maybe it's not high level math, but we're going to connect and learn together and hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important.
So here's the hard question for you, because I've wondered this. To me, it's a hard question.
Yeah.
You talked about your own self-care,
Yes.
but who in the educational community do you go to? Because you give so much to other people that I know other educators or administrators who are like you. And then I wondered, who's taking care of you? Like, are people doing the same for you? And what does it look like in an admin team or across schools or in a program like the Emerging Leaders? So I'd love to know perhaps your perspective on administrators who give and give because they care so much, and who's filling your bucket.
I have an incredible gift in regards to I have a very nurturing circle. I have an Avenger Squad who we've been through it, and we know it ain't ending anytime soon. And we're okay with the nuttiness and chaoticness of things. And so we understand the ebbs and flows of how we have to step in for one another and be present. So I have one of my first go-tos is my work wife. Leslie, she is a principal for a K-6 school in South Boston. We've been connected for a number of years. She has helped me to stay employed because there have been some times I'm gonna tell this one this, and she was like, "No, Craig, you're not gonna say that, because you if you want to pay, make sure the lights are on, you can't say that thing." I'm like, "But I'm tired," and she's like, "I know you're tired, baby, but let me tell you how you're gonna say it so that all will be okay." So she checks in with me from time for she has definitely checked in with me and made sure I'm good. I have a number of colleagues who are also principals who still we're on a text stream. I have several text streams. So there's a Voxer groups that I'm not always great with Voxer. So I hope people don't think that I don't love Voxer. I do. I got a Voxer group. Sometimes respond. It's a thing. I'm working through, but I also have a text family. I was in a cohort of executive directors from across the Commonwealth, and I check in. We check in with each other. Sometimes it is about, hey, I'm on the wall or on the fence about a thing, and can you help me? Do you have this tool? And everyone is like, boom, 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 boom. What do you need? I am notorious for sending a good voice message to people, because sometimes I realize I haven't heard from you or seen you in a while, but I'll send a good voice message. Like I will do that. And sometimes, many times say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I miss you. Just want you to know I care about you. Hope you're okay. Let's connect at some point, and vice versa. So I do have some people who are in my community who absolutely I can lean on. And there's some people in my school community as well who say, hey, how are you? No, how are you really? And like, we'll block all the chairs and move them around so I can't move, and say, no, how are you? All right, let's go take a walk. And I'm grateful. It's a gift. It's a gift.
And it's so important to have that network and the people who are going to not let you off the hook because they know you well enough to know you're not truly telling me, and I
Yeah.
want to be here to support you. And that's part of, I think, the vulnerability and the honesty, and who's in your circle that you can hear honestly from them. Like, oh no, that's not the way you're going to do this. We know with the emotions and we know with the stressors of everything that, and we're human, right? Our gut instinct is not always the one that we want to put out there. And so who is that we can talk to and bounce and get like and I think Brene Brown calls it like her square squad. Like, who are
Mhm.
those people that you bounce it off of? You called it your Avengers group, right?
Mhm.
Um, that you can bounce those ideas off of, and they can be like, oh no, this is what you need to do. And you know that they're coming from a caring perspective and want to help you. And so you're more willing to listen to that.
Yeah, and it's Brene Brown talks about the vulnerability armor, right? And
Yes, she
so,
does.
how do you get centered on understanding who you are? And she says this in Braving, one of her talks, and I know it's in one of her books where she says, it's like how you develop this armor that when you understand who you are, that there's less likely an opportunity for you to feel hurt or get hurt by people because you understand the nature of the people who are in your circle. And when you understand the nature of the people who are in your circle, you know that you can impart some very trusted, very deep things with them and know that they're going to receive it with empathy and compassion and truth. And so I know that it has taken a lot of work for me to understand myself as an individual, a human being in this work that we do. But I also know that it's reciprocal. I also have to take the time to lean in and learn and grow with so many of the people who are in my circle and in my life, and I have to give that back. And so I that's why I say it's a gift because people don't have to open themselves up to you. They don't have to make time and space. They have to experience you in a way that they know they're going to be better human beings or safe emotionally in the space with you. But part of that is understanding who they are and also understanding how you show up in the work. And so that vulnerability armor is also like your spidey senses and saying, oh, I know I can say these things and I can communicate these parts of what I'm struggling with in this way to this group of people or this person. But I'm also understanding that those things that are deepest to me, I may hold on to in a different way because I don't know how certain people are going to receive it. And that can stymie your ability to be a great leader, just, be an educator in the space that we're in.
Well, and I love that you've talked about, for me, how I envision it like an inside out process, right? Like, you know you best, and you let different groups of people or different people come in close to you.
Yeah.
And a friend and mentor of mine, Tom Stecker, talks about levels of relationships. And so you have you, and then right outside of there, he calls them your intimates, which are like your closest friends. And
Yeah.
he usually, and Brene Brown says, there's like only 5 of those people.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have friend or friend like,
Yeah.
and then acquaintances, and then anyone. And I've even had these conversations with my own boys, like, not everybody deserves to
Yes.
come in, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But everybody does deserve to be treated with respect and kindness.
Yes.
And so you can determine who comes in. And when you find those people who come in, they help you learn more about you,
Mhm.
and they help you be able to connect. The more you know about who you are, the better you can connect with other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, And I love how you said that you're on that journey, because I'm also on that journey.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is really going to ground this podcast together.
Yeah.
Is we want to invite other people who are on the same journeys
Yes.
and learn from them so we can grow
Mhm.
and be able to help others grow. Because ultimately, in the work that we do and work with a capital W, it's for the kids, it's for
Absolutely.
students. And you said, like, your why.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to be who they truly, authentically are, to show up and feel physically and emotionally safe, to be able to connect with other people
Yeah.
in a safe, respectful way, and to know perspective and empathy, and know that conflict is part of developing a relationship, but you can work through that, and then how to make decisions that are aligned with who you are and what's best for other people. And so when I think about where we want to go and our purpose of even just our podcast,
Yes.
um, we're on this journey and we want to invite other people on this journey with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's I can't wait. I really am just steaming with excitement because there are some people who we, I know watch from afar, and I'm like, I cannot wait to just kind of be in the same space. And there's an energy that comes with some of the people who we're going to become, or who are going to be joining us on this podcast journey, and I
Yes.
can't wait. I know I can't wait.
Well, and I love how you said that energy, because I feel that working with you. And it, like, I have no body sense, but like I feel like moving in like a happy dance when
Yes.
I get a chance to learn and talk from you, with
Oh,
you.
well,
Um,
you'll get to, like, sometimes it'll be so good to me. You'll get the church lady rock, and then you'll get the rock concert, lady style. So you never know what you'll get when we go rocking.
no, well, and that is why we have decided to do a video podcast, like a vodcast and audio. So
Mhm.
this is why we're recording ourselves live. So you get to see us, you get to see all the emotions, the
Yes.
energy, the like, because I have all sorts of facial expressions that I have a hard time not communicating. Um, but you get to see the
Mhm.
energy as well as feel it. So with our podcasts, we're going to keep them between 12 to 15 minutes for those of you who want to just pop in and listen on a car ride.
Yeah.
But we will have extended versions on YouTube where you can actually see us interact and talk, and hopefully feel that energy as we
Mhm.
have other guests on.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on now. Like, this should be your number one podcast. Like, let's stop playing. Like, let's go. Let's go.
What he said, like, which direction are you?
Come on, you want to do it. You
Please.
want to lean in. It's going to be great. I promise.
It is. And so we will be releasing new podcasts every other week, hopefully starting in January. And this is number one. So um, we look forward to the journey and to having you all join in. Please like and share us everywhere, everywhere. Yes. Yep. Look, we can see where, look, I'm not directional. I'm directionally challenged.
Like, it's somewhere down there.
It's there. It's down there. Yes. At Residence Ed and at Craig C. Martin 12 on social media. Um, and we will be back for our second episode in 2 weeks.
That's right. I get to interview Krista.
Yes, bring it on. I love questions. So thank you, Craig, for your time. Thank you, listeners. Also, we do need to say thank you to Pennsylvania ASCD. We are so thrilled to be working in partnership with them. And so it's they're just amazing, and thankful that they are willing to work with us, and we look forward to being able to share more of their work in the future.
Yes.
All right, take care, everyone. Take care, Craig.
Where you too. Y'all stay in the light.
I love that ending. Stay in the light.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.